Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. It's good to be back on a week when FPL matters yet again. Counting down to the deadline in 5 days' time, I think it is. 54 of you tuning in before we even go live. Good to see. My name's Janny, he's Dean, and we're with you for the next hour. Good to see so many chasers in the chat as well. FPL River, Haley, CH, Eddie, hello, gang. Tell me something about that thumbnail that was different to normal chasers. Let's see if you can get it in the chat. Quiz question to start.
I spotted that very quick. Yeah, spotted that very quick, mate.
Yeah, I'm glad of the change.
Yeah, it's nice little. Got a bit of a rebrand going on, haven't you, over there?
Yeah, a little bit, mate. You know, trying to be a little bit more pro these days. How are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, it's nice to be kind of focusing back on a normal domestic weekend. I did actually watch more international football than I expected to. I think I ended up watching England, Brazil, Argentina, Belgium. I watched someone else random as well. Ghana, I watched actually at one point. Yeah, so I just started diving into all these random games in the end when I had no intention to do that.
Yeah, no week off.
But no, yeah, I mean, it is literally my job to watch this much football. So I guess I probably should be doing this rather than forcing myself. But yeah, I thought I was going to have a casual weekend, but I didn't. The Argentina stuff was mad. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did. I retweeted that clip because it was so powerful, wasn't it?
There was so much mad stuff around that game and in the game itself. You know, the weird thing was they kept giving Messi free kicks 25 yards from goal. It happened about 5 times. What are you lads doing? He's going to score. He's going to score. I think they kind of wanted him to. He stuck one in the top corner. But yeah, it was a mad one, that Argentina game. But yeah, I'm good.
I've just ordered that Argentina shirt from the World Cup. The one without the trophy there, and that's the one that will be more that's the one that will be more valuable in like 5-10 years. No one wants the one with the trophy edition on. They want the shirt that Argentina played in during the World Cup.
Nice.
So it was sold out after the World Cup. It was sold out during the World Cup by the time I think they got to the semis. Then after the World Cup it was sold out. Then a couple of weeks later Adidas went, it's on the website, it's available, and with Messi 10 on the back you could buy it with the World Cup badge on the sleeve, the one they played in, and then Messi 10 on the back. And within minutes, it sold out in large and medium. And I think XL, because I would have even gone for XL, and I'm a large. I would have gone medium, and I would have gone XL, because it's not really to wear. And I was like, I can't go double XL. So I left it, and I was really, really annoyed. And I saw loads of people selling the ones they'd bought through Adidas on eBay literally minutes later, because it had Messi 10 on the back. And it was only for like 70 quid. So it was a good price. And then Adidas decided a few days later to put them back on the website, but without Messi 10. So I just bought one. So I now need to buy the Messi 10 somewhere and get it printed on, because I only want the shirt for Messi 10. But yeah, crazy what people do for a football shirt.
Oh yeah, and you want a legit one, not a rip-off one, no.
And I don't even want the one they played in the other night. Looks beautiful because it's got the gold badge there with the World Cup trophy. But it's like, I know for the collectors don't want that one. They want the one Argentina wore during the World Cup.
Yeah, no, I do get it. What was nice actually was they played the team that played the World Cup final. That was their lineup for the game the other night. So
I didn't notice
they put out the same starting 11 that started the World Cup final too. Like They went all in. Like this was proper emotional stuff. It was really good.
Love that. Guys in the chat, seeing some good questions coming in already. We are going to have plenty of time for questions tonight. I promise you of that. And throughout the show, we'll be answering your topical questions too. To prove it, we'll answer Mustafa's question right now. Who would you pick from McAllister and March? I'm going to give you my 2 pence worth really quickly on this one before we get into the real meaty stuff during the show. I'm going to go Solly March over McAllister. Yes, I own Solly March and not McAllister. But part of the reason is just before we broke for the international break, Brighton played really well against Grimsby at home. I think it was a 4-0 win. McAllister played in that midfield too. And when he's playing in that midfield too, he's not the same attacking threat. Now, sure, in the last few Premier League games, he's played as the number 10. And there's a good chance he plays the vast majority of games between now and the end of the season as a 10. But there is always that risk that he'll drop and play in the midfield too with Caicedo. And if we do see that, he's not the same asset. Yes, he's still on penalties. He's actually still a good asset, and he got an assist versus Grimsby. But March and Matoma are the two to play when McAllister's playing deeper. And March, he's had a nice little break as well. No flights to South America or Japan like Matoma. March has had a couple of weeks off. Well, probably a week off. And I like that. I think March is captainable this week.
Do you? Wow.
I love the week off. I like captaining a player off the international break. That's not.
Yeah. You know what? I was speaking to someone the other day about this. Solly March is not particularly happy about having the week off because he feels, I'm told, that he probably deserves a call up. And I think he's a little part of it. If I didn't get a call up now, am I ever going to get a call up? Particularly when he plays for Brighton. I'm not saying he wants to leave Brighton, but like, what more could the man do? Especially as there's a few dropouts and stuff. So, yeah, it's good for us that he didn't play, and that's a really good point actually, because there will be a lot of players that have had long journeys right now, even a couple in that team.
Yeah, he's 29 in July. I'm just checking. So yeah, you're right. It's now or never, isn't it?
That's it. I mean, to be fair, if he hasn't made the squad for that game, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, real shame. I think De Zerbi has said him and Lewis Dunk both are well overdue. And Lewis Dunk perhaps even more argument because consistently for a long time, and England centre-backs haven't always been the best. But yeah, shame.
Yeah, Mark says Solly March reckons he's owed to Saka's place. I don't think he meant Saka's place, but I think I guess James Maddison got a call up. Yeah, like Maddison got a call up, didn't he? And I think that he's probably like once Rashford pulled out and who else pulled out? Somebody else. I think that was the point in which he was like, I thought I might have half a chance there. Yeah. But he didn't have to say like Saka.
First name on the team sheet now, and for England.
And for our FPL teams.
Don't, because I think I'm selling him this week.
Mate, how can you sell Saka after he's just played like that? Like, he is unbelievable. Like, those 2 goals that England just scored in the last game, 1, the assist for Kane, 2, his goal. This guy is absolutely on fire. I don't think there's a happier man playing football at the moment in the world than Saka. Like, maybe Kvaradona, maybe him and Osimhen. Maybe him and Osimhen. Yeah, maybe at Napoli they're happy. Maybe, yeah. But in England, certainly, like Saka in the Premier League, I think you're mad if you take Saka out your team for this game week. But I kind of hope you do. I might catch you.
Yeah, do you know what? We'll talk more on Friday, but I think I'm going to sell both him and Martinelli, who's also had a nice break. Martinelli did not get called up for Brazil.
So brave.
Yeah, I know. But look, Bruno is a double game week. Maddison is a double game week, and that's who I'm looking to swap out my Arsenal boys for. Okay. Frode says Saka's a keep for the rest of the season, and I get it. I don't think there's necessarily a right and a wrong answer to this.
Yeah.
Well, we'll soon find out if there is or not, I guess. We'll know. See what they do against Leeds. And I think I'm going to that Leeds game. Although I just got my tickets today. I was going to take my wife and baby because it's like a VIP seat, but not a hospitality. It's a club level.
Yeah.
You need a ticket for the 9-month-old baby. I'm like, what? I haven't got a ticket.
They changed it. Yeah. So you used to be able to bring in under 4s.
Yeah.
They could just sit on your lap until the start of this season. And the Premier League completely stopped it. Because I was thinking I could do the same with my kids. And
really?
That's why he's ended up with a season ticket because I couldn't bring him in any other way. But yeah, so even babies now need a ticket.
Oh, that's outrageous. I just read it online half an hour ago and I was like, I'll call them tomorrow.
Yeah, no,
yeah, it looks to be the case. So yeah,
I think it looks like maybe
I'll be going without the wife and kid. And I don't know, if you want to come with me, let me know.
I'm free, mate. For a romantic day at the Emirates.
Ali Hangarov says he'll come. Ali is world number 1, an Arsenal fan. Unfortunately, Ali's based in Baku in Azerbaijan.
Mate,
he'd have to.
He might fancy it still. Fly him over. CGA VIP.
If Ali wins FPL this year, which I think he's going to, Dean. So world number 1 in the chat at the moment, still got loads, like pretty much all his chips. He's used triple captain in his first wild card. He's still got the wild card, the bench booster free hit. Yeah. When you look at all the teams below him, loads of them have used loads of their chips. I think Ali, I don't speak too soon, Ali, but I think you are a strong favourite. Also, you just know in the top 10, there'll be 1 or 2 that are probably there from punt after punt after punt and aren't actually very good FPL managers, which sounds weird talking about a top 10 guy, but I genuinely think that'll be the case. Some of the previous winners have been dreadful in other seasons. Ali's actually a manager with proven pedigree. He finished 215th last year. So do it for the channel, Ali. We believe in you.
Yeah, you really do. You were saying this off air that you think he's genuinely going to win it, and you had good reasons as to why you thought that. So come on, Ali. This is a big bounce back week from the international break. Keep that spot. And then once you're down to the last 3 weeks, you're home and dry.
He's home and dry, mate. And I was saying off air, wasn't I? Like, here we are, Ali. We're literally off air. We're talking about you with the producer as well. But we were saying, like, if you still had your free hit come like game week 37 or even 38, you could be in a position in game week 38 where you're 10 points clear, and you look at the world number 2 and you go, okay, he owns Bruno, I don't. He owns Chilwell, I don't. I'm going to just buy those players and go super defensive and match his team. No one can hurt me. And yeah, you hope your captaincy goes the same way. But what a cool position that would be in. We'll keep you updated with Ali's progress throughout the season and probably throughout the show because we can't stop talking about him. This is pretty cool.
Proper celeb. Yeah, proper celeb. You're crushing on him this season, aren't you?
Mate, 7,000 Twitter followers now, Ali. When we spoke about him as world number 1 3-4 weeks ago, and we encouraged people to follow him, we wanted to get him to like 1,000. He had like a couple of hundred. So I put a lot of that growth down to CGA.
Yeah, nice. That is
because the Twitter algorithm needs followers early on for it to like you, and Ali got a lot of those follows.
That's a lot of pace. That's a lot of pace.
Yeah. CH Janny is fanboy, and I am, mate. But in other news, if you want a fanboy for me and Dean and for Chasing Green Arrows, do hit that like button. We've got 38 likes so far, but nearly 200 are watching already, which is awesome because coming up in the show, and the audience tends to build throughout the show. Good to see so many newbies joining us in the last couple of minutes. Welcome to Craig and Mustafa and Kareem. We're going to be talking through the ultimate bench boost team this weekend, but also it works for free hit as well because you just take the first 11 rather than the bench. But it also works for players we might want to transfer in this week. So let's see that later. But then also in today's show, we've got a bit of tips and chips. And first up, we're going to be talking a little bit on injuries because there's some big flags knocking around in FPL. So let's have a look at Fresh Off the Press.
It's Haaland, isn't it? It's Haaland. Big game, actually. Obviously, Man City against Liverpool is the first game back this week, and it's the early kickoff on Saturday. So 12:30 UK, Man City versus Liverpool. On the Man City side, we got Phil Foden, who suddenly got his appendix problem, so he's not going to be playing. And Haaland's obviously the one that a lot of us have taken out for the time being, just from the last game week, but were either expecting to put back this week or next week. And now we're not totally sure of where he's at. And over on the other side at Liverpool, there's doubts about Darwin Núñez, doubts about Cody Gakpo. Both missed the international break. So they've been recovering. So they've got a couple of issues too. But yeah, Haaland's the one that we're all wondering about. Let us know in the comments right now. Are you going to pick Haaland this week as it stands? Yes or no? What is your hunch? Will you be bringing Haaland back in? I really don't know. I really don't know with my team. I think I'm probably veering towards leaving it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to leave it. But yeah, if he's declared fit ahead of that game, I know that part of me is going to be fighting the temptation to bring him back in. And I'm keeping my subs back until Friday, just in case. Pep's like, oh yeah, he's good and raring to go.
Yeah. And we'll see training photos on Friday, and we'll know there'll be rumours if he's, because it's the early kickoff. There'll be some stuff on social media in the morning. Some of it will be false, so don't take it with a pinch of salt. But I even once saw Dean a couple of months ago, City were in the early kickoff, and we weren't sure if Haaland was going to start.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, the bookies' odds massively changed for a Man City win. And straight away, the rumour was Haaland's not making it. And genuinely, I don't think there was anything other than the bookies' odds. There was a few in the nose that hadn't tweeted it. And then the team news came out and it was like, no Haaland. And the only inside info we had was, why the hell did the bookies' odds massively change for a Man City win? They drifted like 2 hours before the game. Like the bookies knew something. I thought that was like, wow, I've never noticed that before with team selection. and odds changing, but that's how big a deal Haaland is. And it was really interesting to know that bookies odds can actually even affect your FPL choices now. So with team news, pretty cool.
Absolutely. CH makes a really good point. It's an April Fool's kickoff. So you can make April Fool's jokes up till midday. Like that's the UK thing, right? So like anywhere up to date, you will get fake stories, fake leaks, and people go April Fools. That is right. There will be a lot. I mean, you get the stupid stuff too, like, oh, the FA have announced that goals will be bigger from next season and all those kind of stuff. But yeah, just beware on Saturday morning that any tweets you see might not be legit. So triple check everything you see in the build up to kickoff.
Yeah, I would say go off the blue tickers only, but you can buy them now.
Well, by April the 1st, it won't even be. Yeah, you won't even be able to trust it that day because the ticks will be gone, won't they? I'll be losing my tick, I think, in 3 days or whatever.
What, you actually lose a tick on April 1st?
I think you do. I think I read something earlier on today that sounded like I will literally lose my tick in a few days' time. Yeah, unless I start paying my $8 a month, which I don't plan to do.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. So I actually did a little trial on Twitter Blue the other day, probably about 6 weeks, 6 weeks ago, see if I liked it. And I must admit, mate, it was a better experience. I did like it.
Oh, so
why?
I've I need to be won over.
Yeah, I've not had a blue tick now for, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. And since I came off of it, I did it for a couple of weeks. I don't know why I didn't just do it for a month. I cancelled after like 2 weeks and I paid for the month. But the feed was better, fewer ads. You get to edit your posts, which is useful. The feed
How long can you edit them for?
Half an hour, I think. But if you edit them, it does tell your followers you've edited it. So below the post, it says James Teacher has edited his post. So it's like, it doesn't look great. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, I
think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it because I spend my life on Twitter. It's worth that experience.
I don't like Twitter at all. So,
but you're getting back into it, aren't you?
Again, it's one of these things that goes hand in hand with my job. It's like I don't like watching football, but I have to. I don't like Twitter, but I have to. Not quite that bad, but you know what I mean.
I
get a lot of stick on Twitter. I genuinely in lockdown, I just came away from it because I was like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah. Dean, guys, for those that don't know, gets the Crystal Palace chairman, Steve Parish, at him on Twitter because, of course, Dean's job is transfers and football news. And therefore, especially in the transfer market, you can upset not only clubs, but players too. And Dean's obviously got his ear to the ground on some great stories out there and even had some big exclusives over the years. So, why you get some hate, mate.
Yeah. Oh, well, part and parcel.
What else have we got tonight? I mentioned we're going to be doing our bench boost and free hit team. We've also got our predictions. This is for the chat to be massively involved with. We're going to be talking our top 6 predictions and we're going to be talking our bottom 3 predictions. Not massively FPL focused, but a bit always on this channel. Everything skews towards FPL. But again, we want your take on that. But also, we mentioned injuries, Dean. I'm going to update on Kai Havertz and then you can give us an update on Rashford. Because for those of you that own Kai Havertz, you may have seen he's now flagged. He left a German camp, I think, yesterday. Germany have a friendly, I think, against Belgium in a couple of days' time. And apparently Havertz is a bug. I'm okay with that. That's the sort of he's been sent home early bug because it's only a friendly. I reckon if Germany had a qualifier, there's a very good chance he'd have been okay. And therefore, I'm thinking come the weekend, I'm not too worried about Kai Havertz, who has a really nice double game week. The first fixture is a Saturday game. I'd have preferred a Sunday just in case he does need that extra day to recover. But Saturday against Aston Villa, and then he plays the second half of his double on the Tuesday against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. Both are at Stamford Bridge. Fingers crossed he's fine. I'd rather hear about a bug than a pull or a tear or a knock or whatever. So I think it should be all right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, on Rashford, I'm quite skeptical about him, actually. There's actually an update. Just checked this as you were typing it, and there's an update from 2 hours ago that Rashford has started his recovery and was in light training today for Man United and has started light running work. There was no ball work involved at all for him as he got back out. There's a picture of him, and when it says light running, it really does look like very, very gentle running around cones from the pictures that they've put out. It says his fitness is a concern heading into the clash at Newcastle on Sunday. I
Hmm.
mean, look, this is him. He can. So if he's doing light running on a Monday evening, and you've got a Premier League match on Sunday afternoon, the decision needs to be made Saturday. He's got 4 days to turn this around. That's not the sign of a player that's going to be starting that game.
Oh, mate, that's not good news because United have got 3 Premier League games in 6 days. They play Newcastle on the Sunday, then they have Brentford on the Wednesday, and then it's Everton on the Saturday. And that's before then we start talking about the Europa Leagues wedged between the Forest game. We've got to go to Seville and back. So the congestion is heavy, but that Newcastle game is massive, isn't it?
It is a big game, yeah. Sorry, someone just said, how old is Rashford? He's 25. It's a massive game. Yeah, he scored, didn't he, last time they played Newcastle? I'm pretty sure he did score.
They played the cup final, didn't they? I don't know. I can't remember the score.
Yeah, he scored the second goal in the cup final. Yes. Yeah, so he's obviously been on fire too, but you can't risk him. He's so important. Obviously, they'll give him all the chance they can. I'd expect us to, get an update on this on Friday.
Yeah.
But quite what he's going to give away, I doubt it's going to be a lot. He doesn't want Newcastle having any indication of whether Rashford's fit or not. But that is significant for all of us, I think.
Yeah. No, it really is.
That really shakes things up if Rashford is a genuine doubt by the time we get to the end of this week.
Yeah. Well, Craig in the chat asked a good question, like Rashford to Bruno for a -4. And it's an interesting one. Like, I think if Rashford is just out for the Newcastle game, we'd be happy keeping him. But if we heard that, by the end of the week, he's still not done any ball work and we thought it was going to be, bearing in mind game 2 of the double game week is like 3-4 days after, there's a good chance if he's not kicking a football by Friday, he's out for both the games.
Yeah,
game week.
The only thing I would say here with Rashford is obviously like in the time that he's been out, he's been on holiday in New York. If this was that serious,
it's a good point.
Would they have let him fly off to New York, or would he be doing some sort of rehab? He's got a record. I think it's 5 of the last 6 England games that aren't the World Cup, basically, he's missed. So he's starting to get a bit of a reputation for missing games that don't especially matter. And that would be my optimistic look at it, would be that, like, well, United aren't going to put out pictures, number 1, of him, like, sprinting, if he did do that. 2, yeah, he's been on holiday in New York for 5 days. And he tends to miss England fixtures like this anyway. So
yeah.
There's the more positive slant on it.
Yeah, exactly. We should say, especially based on what Dean's just said, there is a very good chance that he'll be fine.
FPL we just confused ourselves, to be honest.
Yeah, we did. But good to know. You got to cover everything in FPL. FPL Focus, I just read in the chat. He said, "Sorry to hear, Derek." And I just saw FPL Focus out the corner of my eye. Said, "Sorry to hear, Derek." And I was like, "Oh my god! Like, have I missed something in the chat here?" Is Derek just said that his something really bad, right?
Yeah.
Something really bad.
Don't make it up. Yeah.
Don't make it up. And then I find Derek's comment, which is just above FPL Focuses, but I scroll miles high and I eventually find it. Ouch. I've Bueno, Rashford and Haaland. I plan on using my bench boost this week. Derek, it's fine, mate. There's a good chance. I think there's a good chance you'll have 2 of those 3 and you'll be absolutely fine. And worst case scenario, you just don't hit that bench boost button. But yeah, no one's died, fortunately. But Graham, FPL Focus, I appreciate your concern for him there.
Yeah, Indian football coach says it was for his mental health. He's made 49 of 50 appearances this season. I mean, he has had a long one. Like, Rashford is like indispensable in that United team, really, isn't he? So, yeah, it probably was good for him. I saw Southgate really sticking up for him a bit as well when he was asked about it. So, yeah, he said he had no problem with him in jetting off. So, yeah, we'll see.
Good to see a manager like Ten Hag massively cares about mental health as well. And you're probably right, the Indian football coach. Like, we saw what he did with Sancho. Like, just have some time off.
Yeah.
And by the way, the England game, you mentioned Southgate. Friend of the show, Jules Breach. Friend of the show, Kelly Summers. For those that are watching on the UK TV, they did an amazing job on their coverage for that Ukraine game, especially. That first hour, the build-up was phenomenal, not just touching on the football game, but the first 30 minutes of television was pretty much all about the war in Ukraine, which I got a lot of time for. So fair play to Channel 4 and Kelly and Jules, friends of, well, fellow chasers, let's put it that way. Let's move on. We've spoken about some of the flagged players. We still want to be giving our predictions later in the show, but let's move on to talk a little bit about bench boost, to talk a little bit about for those that might even want to use that free hit and players we want to target this game week. So next up, we've got tips and chips. Here we go. Good to see 276 of you watching. If you're watching on catch up as well, this is pretty timeless until Friday's show. So welcome to all of our catch up viewers too. Please do drop a comment or obviously using the live chat for the stream. But if you want to drop a comment that you're watching after we've streamed, we'll be getting back to you on the comments too with any questions you've got. So we are joined by well number one in the chat. Ali, welcome. You can give us your thoughts on this. Ali is possibly looking at a bench boost this week, but he might be saving that bench boost to game week 34 because he's still got his wild card in 33. And if you have your wild card or not, 34 is still a good bench boost option. For my team, it works in 29 better. And I think for most it will. This is an ideal bench boost team. But let's look at the 11 first and foremost. So this is an 11 I think I would go for on a free hit. I've gone double Man United defence, which might be a little rogue. I say double, one of them's De Gea, but same difference. Chilwell would have to be in there, as would Trippier. And then the midfield, I think, picks itself, really. You've got to go double Brighton. Could be McAllister, could be Matoma. March would be the must this week because of the lack of travel. Matoma coming back from Australia, not Japan, what I said earlier. He's playing in Australia. And sorry, no, Estupinan's playing in Australia. I got that wrong. Matoma is in Japan, all over the place tonight. Rashford, if he's fit. I think I'd still go Salah despite the fixtures because he's a big game player. And Maddison, I love the look of Leicester this game week. In fact, there's an argument to say you should be getting 2 Leicester in your 11, whether that's Castagna or a Pereira, and making it into that 11. And maybe Castagna should come in instead of, say, Luke Shaw, because they've already got United covering De Gea. And then up front, I've gone Ferguson, which looks a little bit funny. And there'll be loads saying he's not guaranteed minutes. I think he's guaranteed 2 starts. Sure, he won't get 90 in both. You could have McAllister as a third Brighton mid, or you could have Estupinan as a Brighton defender. But there's so many other good options in midfield, and there's so many other good options in defence. There isn't too many double game week forwards that have really good fixtures. So sure, Haaland's on a single and Kane's on a single. But if you're looking for your doublers, Watkins doesn't have a good double. Havertz has an okay double. But I love Ferguson's double. And Danny Ings has got a really good double. And I think we'll see some West Ham points here. So I like the look of that 11. I personally don't think many will need to free hit because I think most of us can get to a team that looks pretty similar to this. Ali asks, is Ings nailed? And yeah, I'd say absolutely is. 1, because he's been scoring goals, and 2, the dip of form from Antonio, and Scamacca's fit, but always in and out. And if we look at the last few minutes of Danny Ings, and I always, if I'm questioning a player being nailed, not only do I look and see if he started, I look and see if he's getting 80, 90 minutes. How much does the manager need him on the pitch at all times? Because if he's getting loads of 65, 70-minute subs, I'm like, oh, he's starting games, but at some point he might drop out for the guy that's coming on for him with half an hour to go. Well, Danny Ings in his last 3, 83 minutes, 90 minutes, 85 minutes. And the only concern with Danny Ings is when there's too many fixtures in a tight space. And yes, West Ham do play Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, but he's just had 2 weeks without a game. So I think he'll probably be okay there. What do you reckon, Dean? You like Danny Ings?
I do like Danny Ings, and I think like just the nature of striker he is somebody that fits what David Moyes is doing. Moyes clearly doesn't like Scamacca. I expect Scamacca will probably leave West Ham at the end of the season because he's going to get fed up. My question would be, because this is reasonably similar to my team, Rashford and Havertz. What if we get to Friday? They've got fitness tests on the Saturday. What do we do? Or one of them, say Rashford particularly. What if Rashford, they're unsure on Friday as to whether he's fit? Would you go with Rashford or would you get somebody else?
I think I'd go with him. I think I'd still risk him. I mean, potentially you just swap him for Bruno. But if I think there's a good chance he starts the first game and almost very likely to start the second, I'd risk it. But if we really didn't know,
if he was likely to miss the first one, would you get him out?
If it was likely to miss the first, I'd go Bruno. I would go Bruno. Yeah. But I don't think I'd captain either. If Rashford was 100% fit, I think he's the popular captaincy choice this week. Like,
Yeah.
there's not really a standout because there's no City double and the Liverpool double's rubbish and Spurs have a single. The Kane, Salahs and Haalands aren't really going to be captainable this week, or not many will go there. Therefore, you look at Rashford and think, yeah, he's the guy that's been delivering consistently. Oh, Arsenal as well, of course. You know, they have a single game week, so no one's captaining an Arsenal player. So I think now, without Rashford, and even with him flagged, even if he starts, you're like, okay, is he going to be able to play 90 twice? I think Solly March, Brentford at home, and is it Bournemouth? No, Bournemouth away. Yeah. And then I think Maddison's a really good option. Maddison's got 2 good fixtures, Palace away, and then he's got the Aston Villa derby, which is a big game for them. By the way, guys in the chat, I see a few of you have mentioned about how this, referring to it as my team. I appreciate my name's on the screen with Batici's Babes, but it's not actually my team. It's just a draft team. So yeah, this isn't actually my team with 8 million in the bank. I think actually this team's probably has less in the bank, but yeah, ignore that top bit. But yeah, I'm glad this isn't my team because I don't want a free hit this week, but I am bench boosting this week. Dean might be too, and we'll be showing you our teams on Friday's show. What do you think with captaincy this week, Dean? Because the 15 players on screen are the 15 I've said I'd free hit them. So really, all the standout captains should be on this graphic. And there isn't really an obvious, is there?
There's not an obvious, no. I mean, looking at my team now, it's really between Rashford, Havertz, and João Felix. I guess Solly March for the armband. 2 of them obviously flagged right now, which complicates things a little. João Felix would be a bit rogue, but at the same time, when I'm chasing, might end up just giving me an edge, like knowing that he's going to play. I'm not totally ruling out João Felix as my captain this weekend.
Nice.
But that is more because I know a lot of people won't do that more than copying people, because I'm not really going to get anywhere by captaining the same player as everyone else. Look, Saka, I know it's a single. He's the only person, I think, in the game that I would consider as a captain on a single right now. Even Kane playing Everton, who aren't that good a lot of the time, can't really trust Tottenham with everything that's going on there right now. So I'd leave him alone. But Saka, honestly, if you were told you had to captain a single game weeker, I would do it. I'd go Saka.
Fair.
Salah, a lot of people saying, mate. Salah.
Yeah, I've seen that in the chat. A few saying Salah. Punter says Maddison. FPL Focusing says it will captaincy be divided. I think it will be. Guys, let us know who you're thinking of captaining this week. Not necessarily who would you go from this graphic, but who are you going to captain. Let's assume that we don't know about Rashford. So rule Rashford out of the conversation. And if Rashford is out of that first game, then I think I'd be wary captaining Bruno, because I think United, without Casemiro and without Rashford, I think United could have some difficult games there. I think Brentford and Brighton could give them both give them problems without arguably 2 of their best players, or 2 of their best at the moment. Bowen, yeah, he's got 2 home games, I think. Steve says March. Matoma, couple of Matomas, who is flying back from not Australia, but Japan. Captain March says Mark, yeah. Watkins are not for me. I think Watkins has got 2 tough games. I think he plays Chelsea away and then Leicester away. McAllister, again, the flight back from South America might put me off the armband there, but fair. Darwin, he's flagged. Reece James, says Craig. No, well, James isn't likely to start both those games. Saka says DJ. A lot of Maddison, to be fair. I think Maddison and Salah feel like
a lot of Maddison.
The obvious.
Yeah, a lot of Maddison.
He's had 1 assist in 3 weeks, Dean. He hasn't been performing, but I'm looking to buy him. And the underlying numbers are there. But do we and can we trust Leicester? Because the next 3 fixtures for Maddison, which the reason why I'm likely to buy him, it's Palace, Villa, and then Bournemouth the week after. So double followed by Bournemouth. Those 3 fixtures, surely we're going to get some Maddison love.
Yeah, it's worth bearing in mind too that Maddison's absolutely buzzing after getting on the pitch for England this weekend. Like I don't know if you heard his interview, but he was so happy. I'm a football guy. I just want to be out here. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm a football guy. I love football. And I just think, like, sometimes like that positivity and that energy just runs on. And I can see Maddison just being like, yeah, I'm the man now. Like, I'm in the England setup. Like, I need to prove to people, especially in games like these 2, why I'm around. So yeah, haven't got Maddison. So that's one I'm going to ponder. I think I've got 2 transfers.
Maddison. Both have.
Yeah, Maddison will be one I have to consider.
Yeah, so Maddison, and a few are worried about sort of Maddison injuries. Just to mention, since he's come back starting games in game week 22, it's 66 minutes. Fair, it was his first start back. Then he had an 87 and a 90. He did miss the Arsenal game, but then he's had a 90, an 89, and an 89. Like, since he's been back from this major injury, he's pretty much started 5, 6, and 7. That's I'm okay with that. And he was fine on England duty, where he wasn't overworked. Clearly, he started one of the games and came off early. The fixtures go Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, right? So the double game week is Saturday, Tuesday. Not great, but okay, I think, off the back of a rest this week. And then it's the following Saturday. It's not like he goes Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. He doesn't have 3 and 6, he's 3 and 7. I think he's good to start all three of those. Leicester need the points.
Leicester massively need the points. I mean, the scrap that we're about to see is absolutely mad. Like, from 12 down is absolutely ridiculous. They're all as bad as each other at times. So it's going to take the standout players to genuinely make the difference. And like Lee says, Maddison's due a free kick goal imminently. He is going to conjure a couple of moments, isn't he? That Maddison magic will be there to see in these coming game weeks. So he's not one of those that you can put in and out, is he? You need to either stick with him or you don't. Have some faith in whatever you feel is when he's going to return. So the second you take him out, he will return. So yeah, watch out.
Yeah, I think we should move on. You mentioned their teams at the bottom. Let's talk relegation. Let's talk top six. We've got our predictions coming up and we want your help in the chat. Who's going to get top six? Who's going to go down? Let's find out next up. So here we go. Dean, you're up first. Let's talk top. Should we do just top six chat? And then I'll give mine and then we'll get the chat to give theirs. And then we'll talk about the bottom three.
Okay, yeah.
We'll end the show with relegation.
Yeah, fine. So a lot of people won't like this because I've got Man City top of the league and they're not currently top of the league. Look, they've still got to play each other, right? And I think it really does come down to a lot of it to that game. It's going to be it's a really big game. And I thought the last time these two played against each other, I was like, this is a must not lose for Arsenal. And if they don't lose it, then I really, really believe that they've got a chance. But then obviously they did lose it. And I just think, after that 3-1 win for Man City, they'll have the belief coming into the next game. I'm just trying to track the date of that fixture, 26th of April. So it's at a real key time that these two end up meeting each other. Look, Arsenal are brilliant. Like, I'm not saying anything about Arsenal here about that. Like, their style of play, everything about it is great. But we've still got a fair way to go here. They've got 10 games left. City have got 11. The gap at the moment is 8 points. Call it 5. And it's game on, basically, if they win that game. Now, the other one that people were saying, Dean, if Liverpool reaches top 4, you get curry and drink Smith. Do you know what? Liverpool is 6th, right? They've got 2 games in hand on Tottenham, and they're currently 7 points behind Tottenham. So they win both their games in hand, which I know is a stretch considering Liverpool's form a lot this season. They haven't got consistency. But Tottenham aren't going to be consistent either going into this last stretch. And Liverpool, this is all they've got, right? They have to do something here. They have to get into that top 4. Like, they've gone from up here, like title contenders, like consistently. They're spending money on big players. They want to go after Jude Bellingham in the summer. They want to do all these great things. They've got to finish top 4. You can't finish outside of it and have these lofty ambitions still.
The next 3 games, team, will know way more, won't we? Because they play City away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home. If they pick up 0 points in the next 3, I don't think 4th is going to be reachable.
Yeah,
they need something.
That's a fair point, and I don't think they'll beat Man City. So, like that straight away, this isn't going to look likely. But I think they'll get points along the way there. Like, it wouldn't surprise me from those 3 games if they were to get 4 points. And I think that's totally fine. And then you go into a run of games to clinch that spot. And it's a nice run that they've got at the end of the season, to be honest. So, look, the obvious thing is to put Tottenham in at 4th. Like, I don't know what we're getting from Tottenham from here on out. I got absolutely no idea. Now that Conte's gone, like, maybe they become better. Yeah. Possibly. I mean, to be fair, when he was missing with his illness, they weren't too bad. But yeah, I can't take that on its own. Someone says, who was it? Resting Pilgrim. I'd like to see Brighton make it. FPL
Oh,
Marshall.
interesting.
A few
Resting
people
Pilgrim.
talking about Brighton. I'm sorry, I'm not having it. I am not having in a month of Sundays that Brighton are qualifying for the Champions League this season.
I think they might. We'll show my team in a minute,
Go
my
on.
graphic in a
We
minute.
can have a look if you want. We can have a look, see how it measures up. I don't mind.
All right, well, let's skip on to mine then and see, because I think I went Brighton fourth. Did I go Brighton fourth?
I think you might have.
Did.
You
I did. Come on. I'm with you, because I don't think Spurs I can call. Liverpool, the reasons why I'm swerving them for top four is those next three fixtures. And Newcastle will just, there's not enough goals in that team. Let's talk Brighton and then we'll talk back to Arsenal and why I think they can win the league. But Brighton, first and foremost, Dean, why can't they do it? The fixtures are pretty good for them. They've got as many fixtures as anyone else. Their home games are all pretty much winnable. They play at home Brentford, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, okay, and Man City. And then on the road, they go to Bournemouth. They won't have issues there. They go to Spurs and Chelsea. I could see them picking up points there. They go to Forest. I think they'll still win that, despite Forest being good. They go to Arsenal, Newcastle, and Villa. The fixtures aren't bad. It's a Zerby ball.
It's not that they can't do it. It's just that it's unlikely. You know, it's like when people were asking me a few weeks ago if I thought Fulham were going to qualify for Europe, and I said no, I don't think we'll qualify for Europe. We've had a really good season, but I think we'll finish 8th or 9th. And Brighton are a bit better than Fulham, but they are not good enough. Personally, I don't think. This isn't meant as a dig at Brighton. I have nothing against Brighton whatsoever. They're having a good season. I just don't think that they're going to be good enough. Like, to be honest, like they've had a better season than Liverpool, yet Liverpool are in the same position. I know Brighton currently got a game in hand, so you could argue the toss on that one. But yeah, I just think that Liverpool are having a poor season and they're right there, right?
Yeah.
And Brighton are having the best season in their history, basically. And then just right there with Liverpool right now. Those two going head to head. Sorry, I can't go with Brighton ahead of Liverpool.
The reason Brighton are going to get fourth, mate, is because the other teams just aren't performing. I think they'll get fourth because a lack of goodness. I'm trying to think of the phrase. Because the other teams haven't been able to step up. This season, Spurs, Newcastle, Liverpool and Chelsea dropping silly points. And I think Brighton will swerve that. And yeah, it's the best season they've had perhaps ever. But they've also had a lot of turmoil. They've had big players go. They've had Potter go. De Zerbi come in with fresh ideas, new approach, different 11, different style. And with that, they had some teething problems. De Zerbi didn't come in and win the first few games. So considering all those changes, I think Brighton, now we're seeing the real Brighton. I think that's still yet to peak this season. And what the other teams going for top four don't have, and I include Newcastle, Spurs, and sometimes Liverpool, and certainly Chelsea, they don't score enough goals. Now, Brighton, they're as attacking as Arsenal and City. They score as many goals per game. I back Brighton to score 3-4 goals. So I don't know the odds. The bookies would have Brighton a pretty long shot of making top four. But the more I think about it, I might put some money on that.
The other thing I would throw into the mix here is that Brighton have got an FA Cup semi-final at Wembley coming up, right?
Fair point.
That does a lot to a team's mindset, win or lose. Like there's been so many times when teams have had unexpected runs to Wembley and it kind of kills the other side of their season.
Yeah.
And going into that, so that FA Cup semi-final is on the 22nd of April and they've got Man United. The 2 weeks leading into that game, they've got Tottenham and Chelsea. That's when the mind starts to switch towards that game, which is so big in their history. And then straight after it, they've got, I think they were supposed to have Man City. They haven't. That was actually being rescheduled because of the date of the Man United game. Okay, so on the back of that, they've actually got Nottingham Forest, which is quite nice. But I don't know, man. I've seen it so many times that something that's so great ends up being such a distraction to the bigger goal. So they go to Wembley, they lose to Man United 2-1 or something, and so much goes into that occasion that it turns out to be the end of the season. I'm sorry.
I've been
doing this job too long.
Look, but what if they go and win at Wembley?
They won't. They won't, mate. They are not going to beat Man United at Wembley. I'm sorry, they won't.
Oh, I really hope they do. I really wanted. I thought Fulham was so unlucky at times, and
So did I. I mean, the only thing I would say is that Man United, like, they have looked leggy in the last few games.
Yeah.
So, like, we'll have to see. Maybe if that continues, then
and they'll be in the Europa still by then if they beat Seville. So it's going to be an interesting time for United.
I'm being a bit harsh there. I don't mean like they won't. I've obviously got no idea what happened in that game.
No, we're clipping this, mate. We're clipping this. Hunter asked, "Where's Chelsea?" And when we came off the show on last Friday and we said, look, on Monday, let's do predictions. We're really excited about the prediction show. I was asked to put together our top 4. And I said to Dean, I said to our producer, look, can we go top 6 so I can squeeze Chelsea in? Because I can't do a top 4 seriously with Chelsea. And I was looking at this at the weekend when I put this together. I can't even see how Chelsea get top 6, which is so bad and so depressing. But yeah, unfortunately, that's where we're at. Arsenal top 2, before we talk about the bottom. Dean, I completely get why you've gone City. And I must admit, I was in 2 minds. The fixtures for Arsenal, they still have to go to Anfield. They still have to go to the Etihad. They still play Chelsea. They still play Brighton. Like, they've got some really tough games. The City fixtures are so much better. Arsenal-Liverpool game, the week after next, I think is huge because it's at Anfield and Liverpool will back themselves in that one. But then the Arsenal-City game, we know the whole cliche of a 6-pointer. But I just wonder if that end of the season, after Man City, they played Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton before 2 easier games. And I just wonder if they stumble then and then they lose momentum, which is why I'm happy selling their FPL assets, guys, because I just don't see, even if they win these tight games against Liverpool, City, Chelsea, they're not going to be 3-4 goal games. They're going to be 1-0ers, I think, which is why I'm happy to drop Saka and Martinelli with a very heavy heart. But Man City, I just feel like they have this little run where they play Liverpool this week, but then it's Southampton, Leicester, then Arsenal in there, but then it's Fulham, West Ham, Leeds, Everton, all 3-point games where they'll build that momentum of just 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. They've been there, they've done it. So whilst I still think because of the points gap at the top, Arsenal will edge it, perhaps it will be like a point or 2. And it could even go down to goal difference for, I think, the first time ever, Dean. It's never gone to goal difference, has it?
It never does. No, it never does.
It's close now. That's an extra point.
Yeah, people talk about like it really matter, and it very, very rarely does matter what the goal difference is. What the goal difference does tell you, though, is obviously how well a team is genuinely playing. And the fact that Arsenal have got a goal difference of 40 is really significant, and it's real credit to them that they're able to get up to this number. Like, Arsenal haven't seen numbers like this for years and years and years. Like, the goal output has been really, really impressive consistently. But yeah, it's that tricky spell of fixtures that they've still got to come that just makes me wonder. I mean, to go and play Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle and Brighton, 4 games there, and then there's 2 games after that. Like, it's a proper run-in that they've got. And yeah, so far, whenever I've doubted them, they've come out the other side and they've scored last-minute goals. They've dispatched of teams. They've always had an answer, but they've got to do that 10 more times. 10 more times Arsenal have got to come out and do this. And the problem is, none of us have seen them do it. We've seen Man City do it. We know Man City have the character, have the mental nerve. They've got everything. They've got a manager that's been there and done it. They know how to manage a situation like this. Doesn't mean that they'll win it. Of course it doesn't. But that's just why I'm siding with City on this, because they've got the benefit of experience here, which Arsenal don't have as much of. I think it's massively helpful, the fact they've got like Zinchenko in there. Like, somebody like that is going to be hugely influential. If Zinchenko was actually to get injured, I'd see that as a massive problem. Like, there's only a couple. I think Zinchenko, Saka. Who would I pick? Xhaka? Yeah, it'd be someone from the midfield. Yeah, it might be. Yeah. But there's not a lot that I think could totally derail Arsenal. But I think Zinchenko will probably be one of them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And we saw a couple of weeks ago at the Emirates, Bournemouth ran them so close. Like that Reece Nelson last minute half volley, what hit that was. But
yeah,
squeaky bum time feels like it's coming. It's already come in really early. There's still there's 10 more games of that.
Exactly. That was like with 13 games left of the season, and they're celebrating like that.
Like it's game week 37.
And it's not. Yeah.
They may have peaked too soon. But look, they've got the gap. The bottom three, we're not going to waste much time on because we want to answer your questions. This isn't actually my order. I'm going to reset this if you guys are happy for me to do so. I think, and I didn't necessarily think about the order, so I just gave our producer 3 names, but I actually think Bournemouth will finish bottom. And I think then Southampton. I think Forest will be the most likely out of these 3 to stay up. So let's go back to Dean's slide because I think Dean's probably got it in the order I've just said. Bournemouth bottom, then Southampton, then Forest. I think we went for the same 3 teams. Yeah. So I completely agree, Dean. Our top 6s were slightly different. We both went Spurs, Newcastle, United in those positions. I went Brighton 4th. You went Liverpool 4th. Our top 2s were reversed, but our bottom 3, bang on. Do you think it's between, I mean, look, you could drag Wolves and West Ham and Palace into the mix for 18th. Are we fairly confident on 19 and 20 and it's 18 we're less sure about? Because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, personally, Bournemouth I'm convinced of. Mark says Bournemouth will escape relegation. Can you let me know your reasoning? Because apart from pulling out the odd result from nowhere, I don't see a strategy to this or a consistent pattern to this. That's why I've got them bottom. I think they actually are the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Southampton, they've given themselves a lifeline. They've just got a couple new issues during the international break with new injuries. They really have like a thin squad here to actually pick from that Sales actually trusts. And defensively, they've got problems at the moment. Ketchup. I can never say his name, just call him Ketchup. He picked up an injury in the last game. Salassu's supposed to come back in for him in this game. He's actually picked up a knock during the international break. Bednarek's got a problem. He might be okay, might not. And these are the things that are, this is a team that's absolutely been shorn of confidence all season. They've had a couple of, standout performers still in like Lavia's had a good season. Ward-Prowse has done okay at times. He hasn't had his best season by far. And they don't really score goals. This is a team that lacks an obvious source of goals. So, yeah, I don't really see it happening for them. And Nottingham Forest, honestly, I don't know what Nottingham Forest are. They might stay up and finish 13th or they might finish 18th. I honestly don't know.
They're amazing at home and they are the worst away team pretty much in the Football League. And I look at their fixtures and I am worried for Forest. Like, they still have to play United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton. Like, they've got some, but they've got some, obviously some 6-point winnable games, but they've got some really tricky games. And the games they need to win, they need to beat Leeds and Villa and Brentford and Palace. Well, they're all away games. All those games I just mentioned that they need to be winning, the Leeds-Villa game. So Leeds, Villa, Brentford and Palace are all away from home. And I'm really worried about their away form. Like, I can see them losing those games because they've just been dreadful on the road. But they have got quality. And like Gibbs White pulling the strings, and Johnson is now starting to score goals. And Chris Wood's been there and done it. We saw him score goals for Newcastle as soon as he went there. Such a useful signing that was. I wonder if they'll have enough, but I just can't think of a team that I'm confident saying, no, Wolves go down or no, Palace go down. Yeah. I think Wolves and Palace are probably the only two. Like, I'm not worried about Leeds now, I don't think. I don't think we can be worried for Leicester or West Ham either. I think there's too much pedigree there, but we've been there before when West Ham went down.
Look, the chances are there will be one surprise. It's just impossible to know which one that would be. I think what it is this is the most inoffensive bottom 3, the thing that people will be least offended by us picking. And there's such an obvious reason right now to look at the table and pick that this would be our 3. That's the problem. We could look at this again in like 3 or 4 weeks' time and have a completely different opinion. That's the issue with this. It is such a tight relegation battle. Southampton currently bottom of the league on 23 points. Then you've got Crystal Palace and Wolves up in 12th and 13th on 27 points. There's a 4-point gap there over 8 places. That's absolutely ludicrous. And honestly, this is going to be so exciting as the weeks roll on, especially as so many of them play against each other.
Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. Oh, Everton points deduction. Yeah, John, we'll speak more about that on Friday. I think it's unlikely to take effect this season if we see it. But let's move on to your questions. Guys, if you're liking the stream so far, we've got 5 minutes left. You can show your appreciation by hitting that like button. I think today's been, like always, our Mondays are loads of fun. But we do these streams on Mondays and Fridays. And if you're new around here, do hit that subscribe button and that alarm bell when you do so. You'll be notified every time we go live, which is twice a week. So time for some questions. quick fire, as always, at the end of the stream. We'll alternate between questions. Dean will take one, then I'll take one. So let's hit you with the first one. Dean, I'll come to you first.
If Rashford is injured, I'll go -4 to get Ben Rama in my squad. Oh, Ben Rama. I don't think I've Ben Rama all season. If he's definitely injured, though, then yeah.
He's on pens, Ben Rama. He's scoring goals now.
Yeah, absolutely.
People like you, Dean, that have watched the Championship for a few seasons, I know always say, those that have watched Championship always go, Ben Rama, he's really good. Because he was amazing.
Stick. Yeah, those memories stick.
Yeah. Let's go next up. Thanks, Fristo. Good question. And we don't recognize your name, Fristo, so make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. You might not be one of our chasers. Who we got next? Let's have a look. Sherwin, Saka or Salah for game week 29? If you can only have one, I still think Saka. I think Salah is definitely going to be a buy when Liverpool double around game week 34. But I'm happy going without Liverpool. Sure, you want him in 32 when I'm on a free hit. But until then, I'm fine without Liverpool for a few weeks.
Yeah, fair enough. FL Popo says Nunes and Tarkovsky for Isak and Trips. Which one's he getting out here?
You're getting out Nunes and Tarkovsky.
Oh, getting out.
Liverpool have got a double, though.
Fine. But Nunes, I guess, is an injury doubt too.
Yeah.
So, that makes sense to me. I thought it was bringing in Nunes. I was like, I'm not sure I'll be doing that for Isak. But yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Thanks, Popo. Garav. Plan was to do Martinelli to Rashford. With injury news, should I go Bruno, Barnes, Benny, or Salah? I've Madison free at 32. I think you don't overthink it until we know more about Rashford. Man United's a club, we're going to know about Rashford. We're going to have plenty of pictures of training. So on Friday, make that call. If Rashford is out, though, you obviously don't need to buy him, and you're clear you're going to sell Martinelli. I would be still buying Maddison out of all those. Oh, okay, Bruno or Maddison. It's Bruno or Maddison. Buy one of them, Garav. That are my two transfers in midfield this week, I think.
Nice. Henry to Estupin and Dunk, worth it this week for a -4, considering I'm already taking a -4. That's a lot. It's a big point. What's the biggest points that you ever take? A -8? Would you take an 8 on this?
I think I probably would, because you need 3 Brighton. Because they got 3 double. It's not just for this week. That could pay off in 1 week, but it will pay off in a few.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess if you're investing for that, then that's fine.
Yeah. Brentford only have this 29 as a double, and Brighton have got 3 doubles.
Yeah.
Ferguson to replace Tony. Yeah, again, you need 3 Brighton. So if not Ferguson, find a midfielder or buy a Stupinan, Golgolazzo. I think with Tony, though, I'd still wait another week because he's on a double game week. And he will be banned up. He'll likely get a ban after that. So it's fine selling Tony in game week 20 or game week 30 or 31. But selling it for 29, I think he's off that, a bit like Maddison, off that England call up. I think they'll be good, these players. I think there'll be a real sense of like, I'm an international going back to my smaller club now. I've got to show Gareth that I want to be in this squad again and again and again. I want to be in the 11.
Yeah, that makes sense. Adam says McAllister or Bruno. I go Bruno personally. I'm already thinking that's where I'll turn if Rashford's injured. So yeah, Bruno.
Yeah. Ian, sell Haaland or not? Wait, we'll get early team. We'll get something, but it is April Fool's Day. CH, I'm going to steal that line and post about it on Twitter.
You'll do well out of that. All right, Valenus. Kane to Isak and Odegaard to Salah for a -4. I quite like it. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable go. I think safe to jump off Odegaard at the moment.
Don't have free hit. Is Agurd or Creswell acceptable? Creswell's not been starting games. Don't buy him, Paolo. Emerson's been playing left back. Agurd's been nailed for 90 in the last few. However, if you want to save money, 4.3 or 4.4 gets you Kurt Zuma, who's now back fit and offers more goal threat than Agurd. So I'd go probably hang time Zuma and save the money.
Nice. Probably the last one, this one. Double Newcastle defense on a bench boost. Should I hit Shah out? Do you have Shah? Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably stay with him. I think I've got double Newcastle on bench boost.
I don't see enough of a reason to not. I don't think. I think that'd probably be my biggest issue. I think you're okay with Shah.
Yeah, I'd stick. And
Yeah.
Newcastle will have a double coming up. Like, I don't love the Isak shouts, and I've seen a lot of them in the chat.
There's loads of them today.
There
I
is
don't love it
loads,
either.
mate. I just
I
don't
don't.
love. I don't trust Newcastle to score many goals. It's not
No,
that
they
I've
don't
got anything
score.
against the player. They just don't score big goals. Like, I'd much rather invest in Brentford or Brighton attack than Newcastle at the moment. Newcastle for clean
Yeah.
sheets, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Tony or Watkins to Havertz worth it. I mean, yeah, I think Havertz is the best of those three names on screen long term for the next like 4 or 5 game weeks.
Yeah.
But I would probably keep Tony for another week if I owned him. I wouldn't be selling Tony in a double.
Yeah. The flag's a bit annoying because it's off-putting at the moment, isn't it, on Havertz? That's the problem.
Yeah, we'll probably see him loads of sellers, but I think he'll be fine. That I'd be way more worried about Haaland and Rashford than Havertz this week.
Yeah, if it's nilness, it's probably better. Yeah.
When are we back, Dean? When's the deadline? Is it a Saturday? Yeah, Saturday deadline.
Saturday's the next
Friday
game.
night.
Yeah, so it'll be on Friday. We'll be back. Yeah.
Friday night at 7. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll be both showing you not only our bench boost teams, but we'll be talking about the probably 2 or 3 players we'll be bringing into our teams as well. We've both got 2 frees. We might be taking hits. Actually, I haven't got 2 frees, but I'm probably making 2 or 3 transfers. So that's where we're at, guys. Thank you so much for watching tonight. It's been awesome in the chat. Really enjoyed your contributions and really appreciate it. This is why we do live streams. Like and subscribe before you leave. We'll see you Friday, same time, same place. He's been Dean. I've been Janny. We've been chasing green arrows.